I put 90 anonymous players onto a survival world with 0 instructions and watched this society form on its own. Here's how it turned out. See, 3 weeks ago, Joyful made a video on why most civilization experiments fail to truly spark emergent behavior, so I had an idea. I wanted to run an experiment that allowed civilization to naturally form without any restrictive rules nor prior bias. I reached out to him that same day, and he shared a script for an upcoming video. Reading it, I realized my original concept had totally missed the mark, so I scrapped it, rebuilt the plugin from the ground up, and pulled together a rough hypothesis and project plan the very same day. I showed Joyful an early prototype and asked if he'd shout me out, and he said yes, and this boost eventually gave me enough players to kick off the trial. I set a few baseline rules, mostly common sense like no slurs or harassment, but another one stood out. No teaming or sharing your in-game name before the event. Everything else was set up to be as unrestrictive as possible. The goal was to prevent well-known players from dominating positions of power or influence just because of their past reputation. To support that, all usernames were obscured during gameplay, given names based on their dominant class and a unique 3-digit ID, like Healer 103. The event ran for 7 days and was split across 2 time slots so everyone could interact together, just like most Civilization-style events. Myself and many others credited in the video description are proud to be the first to formally test Joyful's theory. This video is a pseudo-analytical breakdown of our findings based on the full research paper we wrote, which is also linked in the description. In standard Minecraft and most Civilization experiments, players can perform all tasks alone, like crafting tools, farming, mining, or fighting. However, the plugin we implemented worked by limiting what a single player could do on their own, encouraging cooperation to reach mid and late game progression. We split a player's vanilla abilities across 7 classes: Guardsman, Miner, Healer, Blacksmith, Farmer, Builder, and Librarian. Players can earn a mastery in one class, and we'll call that %MST, which unlocks advanced abilities specific to that role. But %MST is a shared pool. Specializing in one class means despecializing in others. Each class took a slice of what players could normally do. Farmers could grow food, which becomes essential with increased hunger. Builders could reinforce structures, making them harder to destroy, both from environmental factors and players. Miners are the only ones who can extract ores like iron and diamond. Healers restore health, because natural regeneration is disabled. Librarians can enchant gear for others and graph maps. Guardsmen can wield swords and other weapons more effectively, essential for dealing with the mobs that were permanently buffed. Blacksmiths can craft tools and armor for teammates, as well as other equipment. Our design ensured that a large group of players was needed to effectively progress, and while you could survive alone as a generalist, you'd be locked into an early game state with wooden tools. Now that the background's out of the way, let's get into the trial itself. We used player deaths per 10 minutes as a main dependent variable to analyze all other variables and events that would happen within the trial, and for future reference, 2 sessions are 1 day. During the first 2 sessions, especially the first, we observed a peak in deaths, averaging nearly 7 per player. Most of these were concentrated near their random seed spawn, which was a harsh badlands biome with no trees and a 200 to 300 block radius. While most people started out playing alone, this early era of individualism didn't last. Players quickly realized that solo survival was unsustainable, and this sparked mass migrations as players began fleeing the spawn together in groups. With these migrations came a sharp drop in deaths, as seen here. What followed was a burst of improvised settlement. These early communities, primitive dugouts, and ad hoc shelters were usually short-lived, collapsing under environmental pressures. Nighttime was especially brutal. Hyperbuffed mobs overwhelmed small settlements, creating a repeating cycle of destruction and fragile rebuilding. Yet, even amidst this chaos, cooperation began to emerge. Skybases and small tribes managed to survive, and players started requesting help from others within different specializations. This showed the natural formation of groups was already beginning to occur. The players also began mapping the world manually. With no access to coordinates, players sketched out rudimentary hand-drawn maps of Spawn and its surroundings. By the end of Day 1, the world had fractured into scattered tribes and underground dugouts out of a shared fear of the mobs. On Day 2, Sessions 3 and 4, we saw a surge in demand for specialized roles. In response, some groups built a bulletin board to manage item requests, one of the earliest and most effective solutions to the trial's growing organizational needs. In addition, more accurate maps were developed to chart surrounding terrain. But nothing had a bigger impact on mortality rates than the rise of the farming specialization. This agricultural boom stabilized food supplies and dramatically reduced death from starvation and mobs. With survival no longer an immediate threat, tribes grew larger and even more structured, and some even began nationalizing their populations, creating recruitment posters to encourage new members. These posters helped consolidate manpower and accelerate progress up the vanilla tech tree. By the start of Session 5 on Day 3, staff woke up to a surprising development. Players had formed newspaper outlets to document the trial itself. Although the newspapers soon disappeared, their presence marked a shift in player awareness. Most major groups had now secured food through expansive farms, and early urbanization began to take root, as seen here. Interestingly, this growth caused a decline in player density, and we theorize as mobs became less of a threat and thanks to well-lit settlements, players began spreading out again. Territorial mapping also advanced. Some maps now used professional tools to chart their localities. And alongside dominant factions, smaller splinter tribes began to appear. Within this pair of sessions, we saw the first signs of law and order. Conflict between different player groups began to spark international concern, like the attack on Lumber Coast Settlement. In addition, groups began placing bounties on trolls and griefers. In one high-profile case, Player 650 was labeled a terrorist, a turning point in the rise of factional enforcement. Session 7 also brought a wave of construction. Megastructures, while relatively speaking, were now visible from towns hundreds of blocks away. This session also marked the emergence of neutral international groups unaffiliated with any tribe dedicated to exploration and journalism. One even challenged the dominant in-game news network. Maps continued to improve through external tools, and this one particularly became the most widely accepted and used map for the rest of the sessions. And by the end of Session 7, we saw a breakthrough: intercontinental bridges built to connect major factions and enable trade, communication, and diplomacy. But this was a double-edged sword, as we'll see later. By Session 8, a new mechanic was introduced: player leashing. Intended for imprisoning enemies instead of just killing them, it caused significant balance issues, and we had to remove it shortly afterward. Terrorist incidents escalated, and tensions between major factions rose sharply. One particularly devastating raid struck the largest faction, the Promised Land.
Oh. Wait, it's not... Oh, hey, on me. $95.
Come here.
Oh, what are you guys doing?
What's happening?
That's
What's happening?
You should not be.
I hate... Oh, God.
Wait, hold up, I need my diamonds. Wait, hold up, I need the diamonds.
Why are we elite?
Why are you leaving? Why are you invincible? You're cheating. He's invisible. He's invincible.
What am I? Why are you kidding me? Why?
884, let me go. 884, let me go.
Why is everybody?
884, let me go now.
884, stop! 884, stop!
Get 750, 750, 750.
884 is doing this! 884 is doing this!
Kill the dogs.
Which person is the heretic?
Dude, stop!
Everybody's attacking.
It's 750. 750.
750 is attacking. 750.
76. I think put us out. Yeah, let's put it out.
I got him.
Okay, okay.
Got him.
Yo, he's leading me, bro.
The fires. There's Virgo there.
Where's the others? Where are the other ones? Is that it? What's going on over here? Where is he? Is this him?
Yeah, that's him. Not me.
Yo, I'm so
Dude, I'm
scared
sorry,
right
bro.
now.
I'm really sorry, bro.
What is
I'm
wrong?
really sorry.
What is wrong with you guys?
What is going on here?
They're logging out to stop the.
Where are you guys, bro?
I'm really sorry.
No, you're not. Don't lie to me. You said I can trust you.
Okay, wait. Okay, so we're combat logging. You can't combat log. Okay. So you're
You said I
breaking
could
the rules
trust
of the
you.
server.
You said you
I'm
wouldn't do this
reporting
kind of
on
stuff.
that.
I did trust you.
358.
No, you didn't. You gotta understand this is for the greater good.
Of who?
76. Of the Red Guard.
You were. You did not represent the Red Guard, okay? We brought
I
you.
do.
We brought you in here for political power, not for this kind of stuff, alright? This is not what we
I
wanted.
think you realize.
492! Fuck you!
No, we killed everyone. We killed this guy, bro.
You come underground. Come underground. I need help.
Kill.
Yo, what? Do you need help? What happened?
Why can I not hit you? This is stupid. Okay, this service sucks.
You can't. You. Thank you.
Over here.
Okay, everyone retreat.
Oh shit! Wrong person.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yo,
Wait.
what the
Combat
fuck?
logging? No.
Yo,
Don't
gear
don't
me up,
combat
gear
log.
me up, gear me
We can
up.
still
Yeah.
kill them without combat logging.
Gear me up.
No, they're combat logging to kill
I don't
us.
have gear, bro.
You're leading.
If you combat, I have you recording. If you combat log right now, you're getting. You're already getting killed.
Kill them anyways. It's not worth it.
Yo, we just killed everyone.
Hot Rush is watching from the sky. He sees you combat logging. You know. He's standing right.
The attack shattered their power and exposed a major vulnerability: confusion. Many players couldn't distinguish friend from foe, causing additional damage during the raid. Some began drawing historical parallels. The fall of the Promised Land during Session 9 was compared to the fall of Rome. Sessions 9 and 10 were largely spent rebuilding and reorganizing. During this time, the Trials-only Grandmaster Librarian completed a partially finished world map in-game. Also during Session 10, the leader of the Promised Land, also known as Red, delivered a dramatic speech titled A War on War, declaring a kill-on-sight order against the Raiders.
We will squash any nation's attempt to become a terrorist state. The safety of my people comes first, because the safety of my people means the safety of the world.
For multiple days now, President Red has been our leader in our hearts, but not in action. As second in command, I have stepped in to fill that role. I did not ask to be leader. I openly stated my resentment to it on multiple occasions. Yet when Red went offline for multiple sessions without a word, I was thrust into the role. I was also led to believe that we held fair and democratic elections when I was away during the session. I have recently learned that this was not the case. All I have advocated for in this nation is peace. I have worked tirelessly to ensure that we do not cause harm to other nations, to keep us from going to war. and I have scolded members that have threatened that same peace. You speak of your attack only being to clear our land of corrupt leaders, yet your actions show you attacking our citizens, burning buildings as they put effort into, and you have the audacity to say that you are trying to obtain peace? What peace? You took us out of peace. You made us rethink our ability to stay peaceful. You did not attack Red and a corrupt council. You attacked myself and people that only wanted peace until you gave us a reason to fear for our safety and the safety of our friends, like Beachtown. As 204 said, and I quote, "How does burning a library contribute to peace? It is not of strategic importance. It's just terrorism." I had the original goal to make a tavern for my citizens and guests for other nations. I had the goal of solely implementing the democracy you so wished for, without even knowing of it. I had the goal of the Promised Land being a hub for peace and trade. We all had the goal of being the beacon on the Western lands for excellence. But you have made those goals a distant future that we may never see. You are our first issue, and our constant. And we haven't raised fist nor foot towards you unless you attacked us or within the land that you agreed to not coming back to under any circumstances, during a peaceful conversation. And you disobeyed. If your group's goal of democracy were made aware to the public before your attacks, and if this had been discussed with me or anyone else than Red, then I would have tried my very best to reach a conclusion we could all be happy with. But I was not given that option since Red's absence, and I was not afforded the pleasures of peace and conversation as he was. I have only been met with arson, fighting, propaganda, misinformation, and a lack of trust, terrorism, hatred, and tensions. And yet all I have done from the beginning to me speaking now is try to do the right thing for our people, for our neighbors, for everyone. I shared information and spoke with ambassadors constantly, and I was scorned for not communicating. We sought peace and were labeled as warmongers. I worked with others to create a worldwide list of terrorists and ensure peace across nations. And our nation was not long after accused of harboring the terrorists we were first to condemn. So what more do you want from us? What more do any of you want from our nation? Almost everything is gone. And I speak not of resources and structures. I speak of our original goal to build us beautiful structures and live in peace. And I say almost because the only thing that isn't going on is our resilience. And I say almost because our people will continue to push on when everyone else says we will fall. We know peace is a bygone memory. We know that as much as we rebuild, you will always come back to burn it down. Instead of wood for eyes to see, we will build out of stone for eyes to burn. And our only goal left is to have this wedding, and by God, we will have it.
What we found particularly interesting was the naming system we had implemented earlier eventually led to segregation, with players whose IDs began with 600 facing discrimination and suspicion. Amid rising tensions, mass mobilization surged. The percentage of player population assigned as guardsmen reached its highest point during the final sessions. Due to network and server issues, Session 11 and 12 were cancelled. By Session 13, arson and terrorism were on the rise again, targeting several major settlements, and thanks to increased military organization, some factions were able to defend themselves successfully from these attacks. Finally, in Session 14, the last of Day 7 and the last of the trial, right before the border started to close, groups such as the Terror Tourists toured and also raided other settlements before the border brought them back to Australia. This session was a symbolic loop back to the beginning, and due to its irregular structure was excluded from our data. It also explains why everyone was violent for the last few minutes on the trial. Here are some of the screenshots they took. Nearly all content shown except for graphs was player made, a testament to just how emergent and promising this concept truly is. And by the end of Trial 0, over 98% of players were in a team. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. We plan to run 30 more trials to gather enough data for a full report, and if you'd like to participate, join our Discord, linked in the description. We all hope to see you there. Have a great rest of your day.